Hi, my name's Claire Mackie. I'm lecturer learning futures at UWS. And together with my colleague, Dr. Stephanie Zihms, who's lecturer researcher development, I want to talk to you about the powered hour of writing, our research that we've put into using, as the GIF is showing, the power of an inclusive and online community that actually supports both staff and postgraduate students at the same time. You can see the community moving into place in the GIF there, and it's making sure that it's helping to keep people's concentration going. To give you a little bit of background then, the Power Hour of Writing started in August 2019. First, it was face-to-face. Didn't really gain a lot of traction that way in our multi-campus university, but as soon as the pandemic started and the move online began, we noticed a huge uptick in the number of people who were taking part. We had an academic writing teams channel, and that really is the home of the Power Hour. And in that, we're able to hold our meetings, we're able to store our resources. And I want to talk to you a little bit quickly about how we actually run the format. If you're going to do this, please, you'll notice that it's actually 80 minutes, not 60, but there's an hour for the writing. Please don't be tempted to skip the 10 minutes before and the 10 minutes after. That's the real key to the system. In the first 10 minutes, we ask people to share what they're going to be doing for the hour, and we get them to record that in the chat box. Then on the hour, we'll switch off the cameras, we'll mute the microphones, we'll keep the team running, and we'll work. Now, we define writing very loosely. It's basically anything that moves your writing project forward. So that could be reading, planning, coding, thinking, organizing, referencing, anything at all. And you work on that for the hour. And then at the time when you come back, the host will go around all the participants and we'll ask them how they got on. We'll celebrate the things that went well. If things didn't go so well, our mantra is progress, not perfection. You're a step further along the road than you were when you started. And it's a really important thing to say that this is all part of the inclusivity of the group, that we are very supportive and very positive about all of this. There's a different range of ways to take part in the Power Hour. We have the team. You can take part through cameras. Sometimes people don't like that, so they'll take part via voice. And you can easily also take part just through the chat box. So it's very scalable. It's usable in lots of different situations, which is good. So we wanted to carry out research on how the Power Hour evolved. We started off right at the very beginning, and then this has taken place over 3 different surveys, and 3 key themes emerged. One was accountability, the importance for the participants of joining because the format promoted this accountability. And we have a large number of people who come back time and time again. Up to half of our participants come between up to 10 times. We've got some who are in the 40s and 50s. Probably more now since the surveys ended. And because that encouragement leads people to coming along, that leads into making writing a social event. So rather than being something that's very individual and hidden, it broadens it out. And that's important for our PGR students who are then brought into this academic writing discipline and see that it's not, even staff struggle with this. It also has a social element in terms of we have craft afternoons in the winter, for example. Importantly, this makes writing a legitimate part of people's work, particularly for academic staff. And this is something that evolved. We noticed a real difference between academics and staff in general, because we have professional services staff too, and our PGRs. The PGRs valued the sense of community that the Power Hour brings, whereas the academics liked not just the community, but this idea that they had protected time in their schedule. So I'm now going to hand over to Steph to give you more information about the research that we carried out. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. So just to give a summary of some of the questions that we've asked across the different surveys, and just to kind of showcase how we moved on from kind of a writing group to actually helping change or foster a positive environment. So in the first time survey, we asked, why did you come along to this Power Hour? And one of the key themes, to no surprise, is the Power Hour of writing. People came to write for a whole range of reasons, to not feel so isolated. As Claire mentioned, the Power Hour went online just as the pandemic kind of forced us to work from home and work in even more isolation. Some came because they just basically writing dropped off their to-do list with all the other things going on. Then our first follow-up survey, a few months into these sessions, we did ask, what did you like best about the Power Hour of writing? And again, we see that we have writing quite big, but now the time came through as well. So people did really see the benefit of having this time scheduled. And what people really like about this session is actually that Claire and I schedule the writing time for them. And because we are in a professional services team, it gives us added legitimacy of writing during your 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever your working hours are, rather than doing it outside of those. And people, even if they're not coming to the session themselves, they do like the calendar reminders. And a lot of people tell us that they have that in their calendar rather than declining the meeting. They keep it in the calendar to basically remind themselves that they should make time for writing. And then after about a year, we did ask another follow-up survey. And this time we asked, how has this power hour supported you? And now we've kind of seen a little bit of a shift, and the informal feedback supports this as well. Writing is still up there, which makes perfect sense. However, people have suddenly kind of come into the picture. And this is where the community really has come through. At the start, a lot of the work was kind of on Claire and myself, hosting, providing the support, encouraging people when things didn't go so well, sharing resources, sharing tips. But as people got to know each other and people kind of came back over and over, they actually found this to be a safe space. They started to share more about things, and they started to share their tips and tricks as well. So we then had this kind of community aspect. And as a Power Hour of Writing community, we do celebrate successes, as Claire said, no matter how small, from you managed to achieve something today to you submitted a paper, to some PGRs maybe making their transfer events. We also started to share everyday frustrations of academic life, and the PGRs kind of like that they're exposed to what it's actually like to be an academic and all the things that the academics in the group have to do. Marking, dealing with students, all sorts of things do get shared and mentioned in this space. As I mentioned already, we've shared tips and resources, and not just from Claire and me, but the community has really started to share amongst themselves as well. We do support each other, and a lot of the support has now moved out with this Power Hour. So people might have met in the Power Hour. Someone might be asking about something, a research method, and then someone is saying, oh, actually, I work on that. Let's meet at another time point. And that has definitely happened. We do normalize that academic life can be challenging, and we do share how we kind of deal with these challenges. And one thing we've noticed is that we are being used as a sounding board, and we have helped participants to say no to things they should say no to, and help develop boundaries, not just the writing time, but we've seen that people use this approach of the Power Hour to other aspects of their academic work as well. So just to summarize, we shared a little bit about the Power Hour of Writing as a very brief overview. If you go into the folder we shared, there are some more slides, and we do have a video that we can share with you as well. And we'd be more than happy to talk to you about how to kind of set this up in more detail. Our research findings show that obviously people come for the writing time and they do like the accountability, but they tend to stay and come back for the community. And this is where I think, especially now that we're going into the second year of the online Power Hour, this is where this will really come through and I think really help us make an impact of our research environment. And that's everything from Claire and me.